Scum is impressive in 2021. Those are words that I never thought I was going to say. The development of Scum began around 2016 and it launched into early access just 2 years later on August 29th, 2018, and it brought with it a host of problems including terrible optimization, weak servers that couldn't handle an influx of 68,000 players, and an overall lack of content or true direction for the future development of the game. Developer gamepires knew what they wanted to do, but it wasn't being accomplished very quickly. This was a game that looked promising, but after a predictably terrible launch and inconspicuous developer updates followed by what seemed like an eternity with little to no progress, most people, including myself, moved on to other things. I had a feeling, however. I did not want to write off Scum just yet, so I decided to keep it in my peripheral vision, playing it once every few months. Finally, in the last several months, I have noticed many really good things about Scum, most importantly of which is the continual introduction of new, quality features to the game through patches that take place more often instead of in long and silent development periods. So what exactly is Scum? The unoriginal description is that it's an open-world PvPvE zombie survival game that focuses on the hardcore elements of survival and has an in-depth, fleshed-out metabolism system. This is what Scum has always been. For a long time, this was the full extent of what Scum was. Scum felt like a game that had potential to be the best game in its genre, but instead wallowed in mediocrity and a generic lack of features. What sets it apart today? Scum is a beautiful survival game where you are an inmate who is in a sponsored game of sorts where you must survive against other inmates and zombies, which are actually called puppets. The lore and backstory of the game is pretty intriguing, but it isn't what makes it great now either. It's the attention to details and the cultivation and refinement of features that not only complement the premise of the game, but its fun factor as well. A fully functioning metabolism system with calorie intake, digestion, vitamins, and macronutrients adds to the survival element of the game, and while it can be overwhelming to think about, the system has been tempered in a way as to not act as a barrier to entry for newer players. A weight system adds to the realism aspect of the game so that character and gear weight is affected by many factors and can in turn change the way in which the player moves and metabolizes food. The injury system in the game requires that the player understand their sustained injuries and the best course of action to effectively treat them. Weapons are plentiful in Scum, from the wooden and stone spears you can craft upon spawning to the numerous different types of melee weapons and firearms you can obtain in your survival journey. It requires knowledge and skill to obtain the best and most efficient weapons available, as they don't spawn randomly across the map. When you do obtain a weapon system and kit it out the way you prefer, it will require maintenance or else the weapon will likely jam and in the wrong situation, cost you your life. This is not the only weapon malfunction that can occur. Players can experience bad rounds, shells being stuck in the ejection port, double feed, and rounds not loading. These are all easy to fix, but the detail in this area can be definitely appreciated. Scum is no longer just the sum of its basic parts. For one, Scum actually runs relatively well at this point, and it isn't just a game where you log in, run around, find guns, build a base, and then, well, that's it. Scum has features that allows players to play the way they want to, whether that means becoming a scavenger or a trader, a bandit, someone who makes a living hunting, or maybe a mixture of it all. This is a survival experience that not only allows all of these, but it encourages them. Players can focus on different attributes for growth, such as driving, weapon handling, movement, thievery, demolitions, and more. Having so many options for how to develop a character gives players the opportunity to mold the game into the experience they want, instead of being boxed into a specific playstyle that they must adopt in order to survive. I can't emphasize enough how well Scum manages to walk a line between fun and realistic. You can hold clothes out to dry them, master the perfect distance to place cuts of meat from a hunt, by a fire so that they cook efficiently. You can ensure that you understand elements and how to treat them, and so on. Base building in Scum is quite extensive, as players are able to build several different kinds of bases, from starter bases to more extensive and permanent bases with which you can house gear, maintain your safety, complete tasks such as managing gear, decorating, or cooking, and stage your further movements and objectives in the game. Scum's map spans 144 square kilometers, with plans to increase its size in the future. It isn't a barren wasteland, as is typical in this genre of games. Instead, it has different terrain, ecosystems, and biomes. The map is full of points of interest. Some are small, some are medium-sized, and others are enormous and full of puppets, as well as being more likely to attract other players. These points of interest are not copy and paste. They are varying in style, placement, and what they require from the player. Some of these are enormous bunkers or military bases guarded by large mechs that will not hesitate to remove you from the area by force. In many games, AI can pose little threat and almost be ignored entirely. This is not the case in Scum. Many puppets are able to run players down, climb or jump over obstacles, and dish out massive punishment when they hit you. And there are plans for even more diversity in these AI enemies in the future. Rest assured, they are dangerous, and firing weapons alone in the middle of a large POI could be a death sentence. The admin controls in Scum are awesome, and they allow an immense amount of capability to create the game you want by determining server wipes, loot spawns, and AI strength and number, among other things. Overall, Scum has continued to develop into a phenomenal experience, and this is helped by the fact that they maintain open communication with the community through patch notes, videos, and more importantly, direct communication with content creators, both big and small. While Scum has evolved into an amazing survival experience, there are still things I would like to see from it in the future. Many of these are already planned, such as further optimization and the introduction of NPCs and quests. I would also like to see further development of goal-oriented actions and even more changes to make POIs more attractive, high-risk, high-reward areas. Scum has come a very long way since it first launched into early access, and frankly, as frustrating as waiting for this point in time was, this isn't an example of a successful early access title, as represented by a player count that is increasing each month that goes by, as well as review scores that have trended upward enough to bring a formerly mixed reviewed game up to mostly positive. Whether you've previously played Scum, had your eye on it for a while, or never even heard of it before, there is no better time to join the community than right now. With Scum coming in at a price of $30 US, it is more than worth the investment. Alright ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all from me for this one. Go check out Hankiboy Gaming's channel. He makes great content and was nice enough to allow me to use some of his in-game footage for this video. I will leave his link in the description. Also, if you like this video, make sure you go drop a like and subscribe. We are almost at 1,000 subs, and I think we're going to get there really soon. I'll see you guys in the next one.